Chapter 62. For at least the month before, everyone had been talking about Christmas gifts and what they wanted to receive. After all these years, I still didn't understand the concept, and I thought the lie that parents told kids about Santa Claus was ludicrous. But gifts at Christmas was like a virus that had affected everyone but me. Kevin and David, as well as the rest of the band, had been chattering about their Christmas wish list. "What is wrong with you?" Carol demanded of me during one of the band's practice sessions. "Everyone wants gifts. Everyone expects gifts on Christmas." I shrugged my shoulders. "I don't know. I have what I need, I guess." "What do you usually get for Christmas?" Kevin asked me. I had to think about that. Last year Daddy bought me a pair of cowboy boots, and Bob and Nancy bought me clothes," I replied. "You only got one gift from your dad last year?" he asked in surprise. Even Carol looked surprised. "I think we went out to eat too. I didn't want anything else," I added, thinking back on it. There was a pause as they took that in. "Don't you want jewelry or perfume?" she asked as they got closer in my face. "Nah, never had much use for it," I said as I thought about backing up a notch. I didn't like people in my personal space, and the two of them were crowding me in, boxing me in. "There's something wrong with you," she replied with a finality to it that made me wonder why I wasn't like everyone else. "I'd like to talk to Speed Racer," I remarked absent-mindedly. Then by the time I realized what I said, it was too late to take it back. They were laughing at me big time, but at least they were out of my personal space now. "It makes sense. She's an alien," David joked. "Laughing at people doesn't make you any friends," I informed them. "But fighting does," Rick laughed. "Yeah, you got a whole lot of friends." "Go ahead, have a good laugh, but someday you'll be glad I'm around to save your asses," I huffed. And I would save them, time and time again. The voices had said so. They were still cackling about me a while later. "So, Witchy, how about some pizza?" Carol joked. "Conjure us up some pizza." They all laughed about that, but I thought I could do it. We were at David's house since his pesky little brother was out somewhere with his dad. His mom seemed to like us for the most part, and she seemed suggestible. I put the idea of a delicious pizza in her mind, 3 of them. His family looked like they could afford it. "We'll go out for pizza after we practice this song a few times," Rick told her. We were practicing Sunny Afternoon by the Kinks. I liked the song. It was stone easy on guitar and every other instrument. I could have played it back when I was 3 if I'd had a guitar back then. The doorbell rang as we were playing it for about the 5th time. David's mom came in as the song ended. "I ordered pizza. Everybody come into the kitchen," she said. "You gotta be shitting me," Carol exclaimed as they all looked at me. "Young lady, I should call your mother and tell her how you talk in other people's homes," David's mom scolded. Then she looked at all of us. "I'm not even sure why I bought pizza when you all don't seem to appreciate my letting you practice your music here." "Oh, Mom, we appreciate it," David assured her as he went over to hug her. "Thank you for buying us pizza." I figured that they didn't hug very much because she looked taken aback at David trying to hug her. I felt bad for him and for her. The energy from him was heartbreaking, and the energy from her was indifference. I wanted to punch her then because I saw her stiffen up at his embrace. His parents loved the asshole in their family, but not the average son who would have done anything to please them. No one else but David seemed to notice her behavior. The others chimed in that they appreciated her and that the pizza sounded great. There were 3 large pizzas sitting on the table. One was pepperoni, one was sausage, and one had everything on it. As we ate pizza, they all looked at me and wondered. They couldn't say anything because David's mom was there. "Good pizza, huh, Carol?" I smirked in between bites. "You didn't do this," she informed me. I went back to eating. Yeah, I could do parlor tricks if I wanted to. Most times they worked, other times they didn't. When they kidded me about it later, I just shrugged my shoulders as if it were silly. David drove me home. Kevin rode with us. Daddy was playing cards with Bob in the living room. They were playfully bickering with each other over different world events going on in the TV news. The TV was airing some nature documentary as background noise. They greeted us. "What do you boys think about this?" my dad asked as he drew them into a conversation over something or another. "Can you get us some cola?" Daddy asked me. I dutifully went to the kitchen and brought back cans of cold soda for everyone. If I had shirked my servantly duty, then Bob would have whipped my ass. Yeah, not my dad, but Bob. And he would have done it in front of my friends. I didn't play when he was involved, and Daddy knew that. "Daddy, we're going to watch some music videos in my room," I told him. "The door stays open," he replied back. "What? You're going to let your little girl take 2 boys into her bedroom? Are you nuts?" Bob demanded. The 3 of us stood there, David and Kevin red-faced, me just waiting for an answer. "They're good kids, Bob. I trust them." "You can come in and watch some rock videos with us too, Bob," I remarked in a matter-of-fact tone. He scoffed at that, so we headed to my bedroom. I heard him tell Daddy that he should get ready to be a grandpa soon. The dryer buzzed that it was finished. "First, I need you to get those clothes out of the dryer and put them away," Daddy yelled. I grumbled and diverted my steps to the laundry room. David and Kevin followed as they teased me. I looked at the dryer, but I didn't make a move to open the door. Then I looked at them. "Daddy doesn't like wrinkled clothes," I told them. "Hang them up," David instructed. "Nah, I don't think so." "But your dad will be mad," Kevin exclaimed. "Huh?" I asked in an uninterested tone. They stared at me for a moment, then the both of them grumbled and took the clothes out. They already seemed to know which shirts to fold and which to hang up. Kevin looked in the washer and saw that another load needed dried. He put them in the dryer and turned it on. There was a pile of jeans that needed washed, so he checked the pockets for change, loaded the washer, added soap, and turned it on. I was secretly impressed by that. We headed upstairs where they put my clothes away and my dad's. They grumbled about it too. Something to the effect that they didn't know why they were friends with me because they always ended up doing my housework. I turned on the TV and propped some pillows against the headboard so we could lean against it. They sat beside me while Yellow perched at the bottom of the bed. Recently, I'd put a step stool by the bed so Yellow could climb up and sleep. "It would be funny if we were all sitting here naked watching TV when Daddy checks on us later," I remarked. They both jerked. Yeah, that got them laughing and talking. Even Yellow smirked at that. "And you'd do it too, wouldn't you?" David asked, "just to spite your dad." "I think he'd kick your ass." "He'd kick all of our asses for a stunt like that, and I doubt we'd ever be able to visit you again. Maybe we wouldn't even be able to say your name in public," Kevin remarked. "And who would do your chores then?" David deadpanned. Yikes, he was right. Sitting there naked would be a bad idea. And if Bob happened to walk in, I wouldn't be able to sit down for a week. He'd probably kill the guys outright. His shotgun was always in his truck. We talked, laughed, and watched the latest rock videos until Daddy appeared at my bedroom door. "It's starting to snow. You boys need to get home before the roads get bad," he told them. Bob had already left. "Yep, snow was really scary, all white and cold." "Can't they stay, Daddy?" "It wouldn't be a big deal if they stayed overnight, right?" I asked. I liked my guys and I didn't want them to leave. Kevin and David looked hopeful. "Sorry guys, you gotta go," he replied. We all sighed. We'd been having fun and we were all genuinely fond of each other. I'd never had friends like that before. Sometime later, Daddy was griping at me for not having gotten the last load of clothes out of the dryer, and that I hadn't set the table for dinner. He was on a roll. About every 6 months he got really on my case about stuff I didn't do. "I want you to stop making those boys do the things I tell you to do. You live here, they don't. And they don't need to be doing your chores," he told me. I'd quit listening by then. And have you thought about what you're going to buy them for Christmas? He asked later. They don't need anything, I informed him. Maybe not, but they're your friends, the only good friends you've ever had, and they deserve a gift from you, especially for all they do for you, he replied. Do you even care what I do around here? I asked back rather angrily. You only care about those boys. And so we argued. Then he was on my case to break up with Cole. I hadn't thought about Cole much at all. All we did was talk a bit and screw, and the sex was never that great. I always had a ton more fun with David and Kevin, just having them as friends. Cole never hung around my house, and he didn't particularly like my dad. That suddenly seemed strange since David and Kevin seemed to love my dad. Carol didn't like my dad either, but the feeling was mutual there. He'd put her in her place a few times, and although my dad portrayed to like Rick, I wasn't sure that he really did. What are you going to do when you have a family and you have to cook for them and do housework? I'm being serious. What are you going to do? He was making me fold clothes and hang them up. I put a shirt on a hanger and huffed. Daddy, just because society grew up with women doing housework, that's not the way it always is. In my world, the men are going to do the housework. It's my world, and that's the way it's going to happen. I'll provide in other ways, I assured him. He blinked at my statement. And you think your life is really going to go down like that, huh? He asked back. It's already my reality. Deal with it, I replied as I thought about Kevin and David, and pretty much every other male I knew. I often said jump to males that I didn't know, and sometimes females, and they jumped. Why would my future be any different? He sighed and shook his head in aggravation mostly. When you have a kid, we'll see if that's the way it ends up. But you'd be surprised how plans go astray. Yeah, my life was going my way or else. That's all I knew.